Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunless Sea. My name is Splattercat. I'm happy to have you here today as we hang out in Vendor Blight. So in today's episode, we're going to have to make a long voyage, if you will, all the way up and around to Wither. We're going to get everything done with regards to port reports that we can. We're going to save as much of our terror and as much of our fuel as possible, but we needed to drop off our passenger back at the Monkey Isle that we were already at. It's a little bit unfortunate that we find ourselves zipping on out there twice in a row, but oh no, in Vendor Blight, we needed to talk to the curator. I love wasting my own time. Inefficiency intensifies. Anyways, let's go back. I gotta talk to the curator so that we can get captivating treasures. Hold on. Captivating treasures are worth 1,000, by the way. 1,000 echoes, if you get enough of them. If you do his quest, you should be able... I'll talk to him real fast. And technically, we could accept the commission. So there it is right there. I don't think I took this. Either way, he gives you a commission, so no more light, the obsequious steward cautions you. The curator is terribly afraid of moths. A bandaged shape no longer than a child lies crumpled on a couch. It lifts its head with obvious effort. It takes several seconds for you to distinguish its voice from the buzz of the lamplighter bees. It collapses rustling back towards the couch. Even the effort of speaking diminishes it a little. The audience is over. A door opens and it shrinks from the finger of light that reaches across the floor. Outside, the obsequious steward nods. The book? Oh, yes, the book. He hands you a slim illustrated volume. The curator is old as dust. We will all be grateful if you do it this one last favor. And so he wants us to collect all the colors from the Neathbow. It's a rainbow, but in the underworld. So anyways, we already have a couple of the colors. The Hunter's Eye, that's one of the colors. And so if we go talk to him right now, we should be able to turn that in. We can also turn in the blue scintillac. And so that's going to be, I think, that one's called Apokean. The next one that we have is called Pelican, and we could turn in both of those if we wanted to. I wouldn't recommend turning in the lump of blue scintillac until you have more of them, though. You can actually have 3 or 4 of these if you play your cards right. And so you can steal one, and I think you can get 2 or 3 other ones from quests that are around. And you can only turn them in once, and so I would wait till you have a replacement because it's a very, very useful combat item. I wouldn't get rid of it right now, especially while you're in a weak ship and you need every advantage you can get when you get into a fight. So anyways, we'll give it the Hunter's Eye. I saw it once long ago when first I came here below. And so there it is. My left eye is blind. Should I replace it with this one? It will be no blinder, but perhaps I will see within. It raises its hand with the hunter's eye towards its concealed face. No sound is indescribable, but some should be. This is one of them. Let us not trouble ourselves with its nuances, its reminders of marsh and gangrene and the chrysalid emergence. Take, it says. Its voice is ragged. It gestures at a side table where a spoor tusk sits. A pearl tiara is perched jauntily atop the tusk. Both, apparently, are yours. And so now we get a captivating treasure, and we get a hunting trophy. Cool stuff. And so then we'll leave here. We could turn in this one, and we would get another captivating treasure, and that would give us 2,000 to put us up to 2,700. Almost close enough to get the Corvette. But if you complete this entire quest, you get an okay ship. It would be a good ship if it had a forward gun. It comes with a deck gun, but if it had a forward gun, it would be a fantastic ship. But the ultimate quest goal that you get right here for completing all the colors is a ship. An okay ship. Like I said, all they would have to do is add one gun to it, and it would be a fantastic ship. But as it stands right now, it's alright. It's got good HP, and it's got really good cargo space. But much beyond that, it's terrible in combat, and so... I hope they buff it by adding a forward gun to it. Just that one modification right there would make it worth it. But the quest is kind of long for the reward, I suppose. So anyways, you get a yacht out of it. You get a dream yacht or something like that. It's got 70 cargo space. It's got like 500. No, it's got like 250 or maybe 300 hull. It's got one gun. It's got engines, auxiliary, and something else, which are not very good. And then it's got 70 cargo and some other little things. It's not really that useful. A lifeberg we can't take right now, so I'm not going to mess with it. The lifebergs are cool because every now and again when you kill them, you get a captivating treasure, which is fun. I may have to use a fuel cell right here in order to get away. But we're so close to running out of fuel on this canister that it would be sort of a bad thing to do. We'll go around Censor's Arch, and what I'm going to try and do up here, once we get to Censor's Arch, what I'd really like to do is trade some of our Tales of Terror for Z stories, because we need a couple of those in order to complete our quest for the tireless mechanic. I'd also like to go out to Polythreme at some point. We'll grab some stone men, and if we can get that done, we could also grab a mirror catch box from... I think Khan's Shadow is where you buy those from, and if we could get all of those things, we could start the quest for him. But up until we get ourselves another boxed, I think it's, what are they called? We need another one of these little guys before we can do his quest, which is disappointing, so we'll see what we can do with it. Oh, I'm so glad the hunting trophy actually went to right there instead of elsewhere. The captivating treasure is really, really cool. We can use that to get 1,000, but you get 13 of these all together. You can end up with 13,000 echoes from the quest, and you get a ship out of it if you really play your cards right. So then you could sell the ship in order to make even more money. And so I think the yacht it gives you is worth 4,000. So technically you could get 17,000 out of it altogether, which should be enough, I think, to get the escatologue. Maybe is the escatologue 20? It might be 20,000. Still, you can make a lot of money off that quest. So let's go into the House of Question. We can gain Salt's attention if we have a Z story. Oh, we need Z stories to do that. Okay, so I thought that there was somewhere in here that you could do Tales of Terror in order to get Z stories. Stygian Ivory for Tales of Terror. So we can sell Stygian Ivory for 3 Tales of Terror. Maybe that's what I was thinking of, is you can get supplies in here for Tales of Terror. So you get 2 of those for 1 supply there. An anatomical cabinet, what does that do? Iron plus 7 death laid out for your careful inspection. Pretty badass. A figurehead of the Eater of Names. A weird skull once adorned with the worn-drawn priest barge of the Chelinet. A star shell. I don't know what any of these are, but an extraordinary implication is hard to come by, so I probably wouldn't trade them in here. Huh. I'll have to keep that in mind. I've actually never taken a look at those. So the Mooter Salt, we need 5 of those. It's unfortunate because we had that, and I messed it up now, and it would have advanced our quest and left us with 1 left over in order to do his quest. So instead, we're sort of stuck for the moment. Let's go to the House of the Question, and if we ask about, we can defy the gods. Let's go ahead and ask about the Drowned Man. He's not a god. He came from the north where it's too cold for gods, and to the north you will return. If you go north, nothing of you will remain. We lost 100 echoes and we get 6 fragments. That seems overly expensive for nothing happening. I mean, I figured I'd give it a go, but sometimes in this game you get really, really burned by some of the events. You get nothing out of them, and they cost a lot. We can explore. Let's gather intelligence first, and then we will... Let's explore the town for a minute and see what we find. We have a contest of riddles, and so we can find a basic riddle if we want to. We don't have very good pages, though, so we're probably not going to succeed. We can try. It's 34%. It's not awful. Hey, we succeeded! The fisherman grumbles but pays up. We get ourselves 1 echo. We've gained 10 fragments, and that's all that we get out of the situation. It was fun for a moment. Some of the other ones are a lot more difficult. If you do the one that's really expensive, I think if you take the pages bonus and then you boost that up a couple more by using the guy that comes with the pages bonus up to like 75, you can repeatedly do, because that event comes up all the time, you can do the event that gives you the 1,000 echoes over and over and over again whenever you encounter it. You can make a decent amount of money from it. Up and in here, I think we'll probably follow most of these ice flows. We may want to hit Codex while we're down here, too, just for the extra port report. So let me zip across the bay right here, and we'll grab that. We're going to go all the way out to the east along the northern border of the map, and then we're going to duck down south to the Monkey Island, and hopefully that'll be enough to get the job done. We're also going to stop at the Cathedral of Lights to hopefully offset our hunger because our supplies are looking a little bit low. Our fuel is not looking so great either, and so unfortunately we're being sabotaged right now by the fact that we just have too much Scintillac on board. I think the other smart thing that we might be able to do is actually just to go out to Port Cecil and maybe do that, then come back, pay off the capitalists, get our money, and then go out and do the monkey quest. I don't know. It kind of depends. We'll take a port report from Codex. We'll get up out of here. And on our map, we could go back out to... Let's go to Frostfound for right now, and then we'll cut downwards. I think instead what I may do is I'll do a little loop out here that'll go around, and we may not do the Monkey Island quest just yet because I don't think she's on a time delay anyways. She is taking up one of our cargo slots because she set up a room down in our dungeon, but I don't know. I've never done that quest before, so something bad may happen, and before that happens, I'd like to make a little bit of money off that Scintillac. Normally, I think you get 400 for 7 Scintillac. I think it's 60 a piece that you get. And so, yeah, 7 of that would be 420, and instead, what we're trying to do right now is get 700 out of it, which is only 100, 280 more, but still, you're almost doubling your profits. It's getting close to doubling your profits, 420 versus 280. It's almost there. It's almost 75% more, I guess. The Chongyi Rift. I thought that was going to be something a little bit more worrying, but I guess not. Alright, so let's duck around these little islands right here. There's all sorts of these little things along the coast when you go out to the Marin Headlands. There's all kinds of these little things out there that you see along the coast. I went out to one time when the water level was low. It was at low tide, but I didn't get as much time to explore it as I wanted because the tide started to come back in. And recognizing this, I was like, well, I'm not interested in being trapped. I don't want to have to call the park ranger and be like, hey, come rescue me. I'm trapped on a little spit of land because I was too dumb to notice the tide was coming in. And so I went back. I would have swam it if I had to before I would actually call the ranger. I'd just be like, ugh. It was only like 50 or 100 feet of swim anyways, and the tide wasn't that hard when it was coming back in. I probably would have just waited it or whatever. I was already in hiking boots and stuff like that, so it would have sucked. I would have been soaked and, you know, nobody would have wanted me in the front seat of their car, but I would have done it to avoid calling the ranger. I don't think the tide was rough enough to where it would have got me into trouble anyways. It was pretty flat land, and I think I could have jumped in between rocks and just been careful about it and been alright. I have hiking experiences, so I figure I could have brought it home. We'll go to Frostfound. That usually affords us with a little bit more fuel and a little bit more supplies while we're here, so that should keep us floating a little bit while longer as well if we take that event that's in the middle right there. Down to Stoddards. I know there's somewhere where you can trade the different kinds of memories, like the memories of a distant shore, the Z stories, and the Tales of Terror. I know there's a place where you can exchange those. I just can't seem to remember in my head where it's at. Sorry, I'm leaving my mouse laying around right now because I'm sailing, but believe me, I like to use my mouse. It's just I keep on the keyboard while I sail around. In Frostfound, we could take T. We can enter Frostfound. Let's make our port report real fast because we need the cash. We'll take T with them, as always. They'll give us fuel. We'll get the 1 supply. It looks like we're actually getting less and less each time that we do it. I think we got 3 the first time we did it. Let's turn that off. 1 supply is better than no supply. It does buy us an extra minute or 2 minutes at sea, so nothing to worry about there. One of the things I'm always concerned about when I show this game off is the fact that, like, it's a lot of dead space. There's not a lot of stuff going on. And yes, you could edit it, but at the same time, when things happen in the middle of the ocean, there are random events. And so I don't want to constantly be hitting my record key. You do a lot of the same repetitive actions, but I think that's part of the charm of the game as well, is there's repetition mixed with things that you can't predict. And so it's just enough to where you'll do things and get comfortable with them, and then something unexpected will happen that'll set you off your comfort zone. And so I think that's one of the really, really fun facets of the game that there's Avid Horizon up there that I think we could take a port report as well. I don't know if I want to go all the way up there, though, because that would take us majorly off course. So instead, let's just go off to the east. I think Major is after Captain, isn't it? You go Captain, then up to Major? Or is Major before? I think Major is after Captain, and then after Major is Colonel, and after Colonel is General. If you're in, like, standard military hierarchy, still, there's nothing to be looked down upon about Captain. I think Captain is the first... I think it's the first non-commissioned officer. It's a big deal if you make captain. I know a guy who, my dad is friends with him. They go way back, and he's a colonel, and that was a really, really big deal when he made colonel. Like, it was like, oh, like you've pretty much got your ship made for you if you make colonel. And the reason he couldn't make general is because he actually wanted to spend time with his family. That was ultimately, they had him just away from home too much, and so finally he retired. They offered him a 1 star to go up to general if he would sign on for another 6 years. But by that point, he was like in his 60s or something like that, and he was just like, oh, hey, there's that thing right there, the mountain nomad. You can fight with that if you want to. We've also got a Caligo-class cruiser right there that I think we could take if we could get it into position. But fighting with a cruiser is not something that I find to be wise right now. At the Chapel of Lights, if we can get in here, we could actually eat of the Chapel's bounty real fast, and that saved us a whole bunch of hunger. Then we'll go down to here, and we can't do his quest yet because we don't have 2 of the boxes with the monsters inside of it. We could also attend a service, but it costs us 5 supplies, so instead I'm just going to take the intelligence, and let's make sure that we're doing the quest that we came out here to do, which is to go all the way around, and we're just going to do a little loop right here. I suppose since we're already out here, I should probably drop her off. The only place that I wanted to hit was Port Cecil. I was going to cut it off right here, cut south to Port Cecil, and come back to the Cumaean Canal, and just do a little loop instead of a big one. But it may be a better idea for us to just stick to our guns and do the thing that we intended. We got plenty of fuel left. We got plenty of supplies, so I think we can make this happen. We could also get on to Esthaven and maybe get a port report from there because it seemed to pay off pretty well. But yeah, anyways, he wanted to. My dad said that he wanted to sign on for another 6 years, but at this point he said that he had wasted so much time, and I don't think wasted was the word that he used, but he had spent so much time developing his military career that he kind of just wanted to retire and give the rest of his time to his family since he had spent so much giving it to the military, you know what I mean? And so he had made colonel or whatever it was, and he was like high on the list for a promotion, but he decided he just couldn't do it, and so he stepped down and retired instead. And they threw him a big party, and he gets an amazing pension and all that fun stuff. So, you know, CO stuff. I don't know. All my other friends are basically NCOs. I know I've got a friend who's like a staff sergeant or something like that. At this point, they're all like in their late 20s, early 30s, so they're starting to get like promotions here and there to like other things with the military. But I think that's like a big thing that a lot of my friends are hitting too, where they're hitting the end of their full-time military employment. They're trying to decide if they want to make the military like a full-time thing that they want to do for the rest of their life, or if they want to move on to other stuff using the military experience they've gained. And so it's just kind of like I don't know. From the outside looking in, it's kind of an interesting life experience watching my friends go through this, because a lot of my friends went into the Army, because most people don't know this, but right around 9/11 is where all of us were coming of age, and so a lot of very patriotic at that point where people were rattling sabers and getting into it. And so a lot of my friends went into the military. Let's go up the crater. Do they admit visitors to the Brimstone Convention? Probably not, but you never know. They might sell tickets. Look down and see Port Palmerston like a toy and the ruins like gravel. You've come far, but the volcano's cone still rears above you. Rest a little before you go the last half mile. The road to the crater ends at a brass gate in the crater wall. Beside it stands an oddly charming little cottage. It's thrown together from pumice and basalt, but it features honeysuckle. An equally charming deviless in a tea gown leans against the cottage wall, twirling a parasol and fanning herself. I'm the guardian of this place, she remarks languidly. You may not pass, but can I offer you a cup of Amarilla tea? Armarillaria tea? I don't know, that's a long... Armarillaria, there we go. Tea. It seems like that wouldn't be one word, but it is. It seems like they just were like... and they squished it together rather than concatenating it. Or Armillaria, that's not one of the poisonous ones, is it? You're pretty sure it's not. No doubt she'd be much less pleasant if you tried to break down the gate, but just now she's a courteous, soft-voiced woman in a tea gown. The tea is hot and nutty and rather pleasant. She asks about your voyages. She's desperate for news from London, of its mists, its nights, its sick, its poor, its fire. She tactfully turns aside questions about the convention, but she shares some of the secrets of the Neath. Come and see me again. Next time you're here, she shrugs gracefully. Bring me a present if you like. She's a devil, and so what she's hinting at right there is that she wants you to bring her souls. Devils consume souls in this game. They like them very, very, very much. We'll talk to the port folk about the Brimstone Convention and get our port report, and so there it is. We could also take our time, a matter of luck, and dig around for supplies. Oh, if we have extra supplies, so I'm not going to do that. That's going to cost me, and I just don't want to do it. We can buy supplies here if we're a little bit hard up. I don't think that we are. Malabulge excavations. Oh, there's very cheap fuel here, too. How's our hold looking? We got 6 spaces. Well, let's refuel here, then. I didn't realize that it was so easy to refuel. You can also get devil bone dice. I think all of these sell for more money, like ambiguous eoliths. I think devil bone dice sell for 21 in London, so if you've got the 120 space, you can make a nice little bit of money doing that. But let's take 3 fuel. And the supplies are a little bit expensive, but we'll take 2 of those. We'll leave the extra space in case anything happens, and then we'll be on our way. The next place we're going out to, we may want to go all the way to the east and just see what we find out here doing exploration, because you never know. Every single, there's like squares. If you want to imagine, so Irem is up to the northwest, exactly. So if you want to imagine these as squares in your head, the map generates using squares, kind of like a grid of squares. And so if you've got a big space like this, you can virtually guarantee that there's something inside of it. This game does not like to have empty space. It says Irem is to the northeast. I don't know if that's the Chelinet. What is that right there? That's a big lump of stone. What the hell is that thing? Strange puffs of warmth from the air behind the ice. This is the pillared sea where Irem will lie. It has always lain. I had the worst time ever. When I was in grammar school, the difference between lie, lay, lays, and all those, I used to always get those wrong on my tests. I remember that. I think Irem is the Chelinet. Either way, we'll go out here and we'll talk around and we'll see what we find. Hopefully this unveils a large portion of the map. Carlisle Haven. Okay, so we got a big snake statue right here, some kind of hydra. None have spoken truthfully of this place, Irem, the pillared city. She will rise from the sea in the ice like dawn. She will be garlanded with red and decked with gold. The seventh serpent will watch you longingly from its high pedestal. You will always arrive as a stranger, but when you leave, some part of you will always remain. Rest, traveler. Our waters are warm. Our cushions are petal soft. Lay your head here and be healed. Or better yet, you will be renewed. Payment in coffee. Yes, please. So we pay with dark drop coffee beans. We compile a port report, so we'll take that. When you will sit down to write the port, you will recall what has been written already. Who wrote it? The report records that. It was already written when it was found. Who found it? The report describes another report which will indicate the name of the finder. Where's the other report? There's a footnote which describes when you will record its location. And when will that be? When all is well and all manner of thing is well. Damn, son. That got confusing real fast. We don't have the dark drop coffee beans, so we're not going to stop off right here. Instead, let's disembark. We'll throw out a bat real fast, and we'll see what waits for us. If indeed there's anything else over here. It looks like Irem is to the northwest. Carlisle's Haven does not appear to be the same thing, and so I'm tempted to swift around right now and see if we can find any other ports in the vicinity that we don't know about. It seems like this is an important place and a large place, so maybe there will be extra places to dock. We have plenty of supplies, we have plenty of fuel, and so I see no reason to about our facing right now. Instead, we take it to the north. It says Iram is to the northwest, so we found Rugsegger Straits, or Rugsegger Straits. Iram is to the west, and so it's undiscovered. That means that we should probably track it down. But I don't see anything here that's going to be useful to us. I don't think that this is actually the Chelinet. I think the Chelinet is elsewhere, far to the east. I'd like to find it on our voyages now by following the eastern border of the map. But if we don't end up finding it, I wouldn't cry about it. The bat comes back and says the Iram is to the southwest. Alright, well, we'll keep an eye out for it. I think this may be the last place that we dock at for this episode. If we can actually track it down, it would be great, though, because I'd like to take port reports from there. Let's continue to keep an eye on where we might be at. I think this is Iram, but southeast. So, yeah, it's got to be. That's Carlisle's Cove has just got to count. Either way, we cleared out that space on the map, so I'm not going to cry about it. Let's go down to Port Stanton. We'll drop her off. I don't know if there's going to be any other requirements in order for us to get the goodies out of her quest. But it seems like it's a long voyage, so it should pay at least a couple hundred echoes. It took us time to get the port report together down there, too, and they gave us 300. So any amount of money that kind of like brings us up out of poverty. We've had a lot of trouble getting ourselves, you know, gilded at the moment. And so if I could actually bring ourselves up into the gentry, I'd prefer to do it. Make a bit of cash, buy a house, maybe buy a nicer boat so that we don't have to worry about dying so frequently. That did, however, hurt our terror. I didn't think about that. That was a big waste that brought our terror up very, very high. So we're going to go back over to Port Stanton, and from there we're going to cut west to Polythreme. I'm going to try and go down to Port Cecil to get the last piece of the puzzle that we needed for the venture capitalist. So that, I guess the 7th piece. I was going to say the final piece of, what is that over there? Looks like a lighthouse, maybe. We may want to check that out and see if there's anything over by the lighthouse once we get out of here. But for right now, let's just go down and do our quest. There it is right there. We found our way. It looks like we discovered the Empire of Hands. That's weird because we've already been here, but I guess last time we came in from the south, so maybe it didn't count it as being cleared. I'll take it. Down to Port Stanton we go. We'll drop her off. I don't know if we have time to do it. We're cutting it a little close, but I'll see if I can do her quest first. Let's go back over here. We'll dock on up. The delightful adventuress leans over the rail of the ship, sniffing the humid air with evident distaste. What a filthy, damp little place. Oh well, we shall endure. At the sight of the mare hobbling up, she straightens. A thin, insincere smile spreads across her face. Ah, you there, my good primitive, she calls, striding down the ramp and clasping the arm tight. Now then, I come in search of your first Emperor's vault, and for that I should be needing a few things. Some of your finest workers, tools, some food. Do you understand me? She shakes her head, barely waiting for a response. Food, she repeats. Compreñas? Oh dear, I see we should be here for a while. Listen, I hear you fellows rather like souls. Shall we discuss that like higher primates? Oh, she's gonna try and make my crew the payment. I bet you anything she's gonna. Barnabas stays to settle up while his mistress negotiates the value of her soul with the mayor. I bet she's gonna try and sell us to this guy. Barnabas removes his mask with what looks to be a silent moment of great relief. Underneath is nothing, just a flat surface where his face should have been. Ah, an unfinished Clayman, one of those flawed products of Polythreme that follow their own rules. If only you'd known that before he boarded. Of course, that's why the adventuress never mentioned it. He silently presents you with your agreed fee, dips his head in a polite bow, and lumbers back to his mistress. It appears she has struck a deal with the mayor. The delightful adventuress will establish a base camp on the Fountainhead Island. She welcomes your assistance as one who has proven to be not entirely useless. I'll take that as, I guess, a compliment. So, Port Stanton. We can take in... It looks like we do that right there. Okay, so we'll go back. Hold on here. So with Port Stanton, how do I talk to her again? It looks like maybe it's down to the south. I know that we saw that island to the south that had like a little house with maybe some boxes on it. Maybe we can go down there. How do I make a port report here? We can just like do that. Okay, so you write down your latest discoveries and seal them, ready for delivery on return. So it looks like now that the Admiralty has been brought up to date, this will be far quicker. Unfortunately, also less profitable. Okay, so that was expected. Still, what's with the Zeppelin over here? 2 monkey guards wielding rifles and rusty bayonets block the bridge. This is not for your eyes, outsider. Avert them. Walk away. Walk faster. Good human. Alright, I like that spunk. Maybe I'll go down to the south and see what's there, and while I do that, perhaps we shall end the episode. So... a stoker approaches you on deck. Captain, she says, that thing in the hold, it's dreaming about us. It means it's no good and no good at all. What's in our hold? There's nothing in our hold right now. Oh, it's the critter. I'm going to chide her for her foolishness and send her back to work. We gained terror, but that's what she gets. Don't ask questions about things you don't understand. We'll go south, and I'd like to check it out and see if maybe that island that we had populated down here, at least the one we had added to our charts that had the house with the crates, maybe that'll be populated. Tory Point, that's the one. I remember talking about it. So let's turn off the lights for right now because fuel is looking, it's on the edge right now. Once it gets down below 10, I start to get more worried, but maybe we have to come back later on. It looks like it's not down there. Either way, let's go around the isthmus. I'm going to head off to the west. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerdcastle for the next episode of the Sunless Sea. There's no "the" at the beginning of that. Welcome to Sunless Sea. Goodbye from Sunless Sea. I'll see y'all later, delicious travelers. Hi-do.